if you don't have people that are capable, competent, invested using that tool, you might as well have no technology.
Welcome to Real Leadership, the show that cuts through the clutter to spotlight leaders who make, move, and process things in the real economy. This isn't about buzzwords or theories. It's about bold decisions, solving challenges, and the strategies driving industries that matter. I'm Jim Weaver, CEO of the Owner Group. In every episode, we get real about what it takes to turn vision into action and obstacles into opportunities. Let's go.
Today, my guest is Paul Simmons, president of WSI, that's Warehouse Specialists, LLC, a leading logistics and supply chain provider that happens to be based in my hometown of Appleton, Wisconsin. With over 20 years of experience in the transportation industry, Paul has built a career focused on driving revenue, operational excellence, and business growth. Paul began his leadership journey in the U.S. Marine Corps, serving as a captain before transitioning to the transportation sector. He spent over 2 decades at Schneider National, where he held key leadership roles in operations, customer service, and intermodal, ultimately serving as RVP of Van Truckload and Vice President of Intermodal Operations. His career continued with executive leadership roles at Interstate Distributor and Transportation America. Since joining WSI in 2019, Paul has played a critical role in shaping the company's strategy and operational performance, first as Chief Operating Officer and now as the President. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hello, Jim. Thanks for the introduction.
Okay, let's start big picture. The world of logistics is vast. Can you explain WSI's place in the logistics world?
So, Jim, we're a third-party logistics company. So what that means is we work with our customers. We take their freight and their products into our facilities. We store it for them for whatever period of time they want. And then we ship it to their end customer. That end customer could be a retail store. It could be Jim Weaver, direct to customer basis, and anything in between.
Okay. Is there a particular type of client or a niche that you have in terms of the types of companies that you work with?
We may be a little unique in our business because we're a 60-year-old organization, or almost 60-year-old next year, and extremely stable. And we started as a large bulk warehouse provider, pallets in, pallet out. Over the last 5 to 10 years, we moved into the direct-to-customer omni-channel fulfillment. So you think about a stable organization that's been around for a long time. You think about a company that brings best-in-class tech stack for our customers and their end customers, and we provide a very unique, appealing, compelling reason for customers to work with WSI.
Land top technical and professional talent with Focus. Focus specializes in direct hire and contract placements, connecting you to exceptional candidates in IT, engineering, management, and more. Elevate your team with Focus. Visit getinfocus.com.
Tell me more about why your customers choose you as opposed to the other 3PLs out there.
Sure. It goes back to kind of what I just said. 60 years of stability, someone that's been in this industry, been through the bad times and the good times, and have always come out the other end. A best-in-class tech stack that can meet today's requirements. And, everybody wants something tomorrow. So we can meet today's needs. We're set up with our technology for the next 5 to 10 years. So when you combine those two, you really have a piece of business that not many of our competitors can match.
Yeah, kind of the stability of a long history with the edge of a younger business. Can you give us a sense of the scope and scale of your operation?
So we have about a little over 13 million square feet. We probably have 40 facilities, eastern point of Allentown, Pennsylvania, all the way through the Midwest, South Central, Southwest, We're in the Pacific Northwest, and then we're in Southern California.
All right. So that's Texas, presence in Texas.
We're in Denver, so we cover the mountains. We're in Phoenix. We cover the whole I-5 with Phoenix, California, and Portland. And we have a drayage business up in the Tacoma, Seattle market. The other unique thing about WSI is we probably have the largest facility rail serve network in the logistics industry. So we can take product in via truck, and we can take product into our facilities via rail car, which is very enticing to customers because it just gives another way to transport goods potentially at a lower cost for them.
Yeah. So right up to your warehouses with rail service.
Cars full of whatever they want to offload.
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, and we've partnered with all the Class 1 railroads. So we have a neat offering that maybe not everybody has.
You know, looking back over the last few years, it's been kind of a volatile time, you know, in the world. The pandemic really disrupted and exposed some vulnerabilities in the supply chain. Have you guys kind of gotten back to your pre-pandemic MO, or has there been some lasting change in how you guys do business kind of coming out of this season that we've been in?
You know, I joined WSI in November of 2019, and, you know, March 2020, the world stopped, to say. So we did a really, really nice job around keeping our employees informed. We had a COVID task force that dealt with issues all along. We kept lines of communication open, even though we couldn't get out and visit people. And among that, there was other things going on, you know, political things in the business that just, and the disruption for all of our friends, families, and customers. Coming out of the pandemic, what we took away was we treated our people really, really well through that period of time. And I think we served our customers extremely well. And that's been a mark of something WSI has done for 60 years. And it reinforced, we had very little turnover of people during that time period. And I think it really reinforced that the customer experience is of the utmost importance, and the employee experience is equally important. So if we continue to do those two things consistently and elegantly in some ways, we're going to be set up for the next 5, 10, 20 years plus.
Struggling with high turnover and burnout? Own and Flex addresses these challenges head on, offering a scalable solution with vetted part-time talent to fill staffing gaps. Own and Flex combats worker shortages and ensures your core team isn't overburdened, reducing turnover and enhancing job satisfaction. Empower your workforce and boost your success with Own and Flex. Visit ownandflex.com to learn more.
I've heard you guys use the phrase, I love it, people, process, and technology in perfect sync. So what does that mean, and how do you operationalize that?
When people think about innovation, everybody goes towards technology or IT. And that's one leg of the stool, right? I mean, you need to have a solid, progressive, in my opinion, top-rate tech stack. If you don't have people that are capable, competent, invested, using that tool, you might as well have no technology. And if you have people that are following a process in one building and a different process in another building, that doesn't align either. You lose productivity, you don't serve customers well. So we believe that this whole people, process, and technology are really interlooped. You know, if you think about concentric circles, they overlap. And you can't do it well unless the three are operating in the words you talked about, in sync and in harmony, because something will break. And when that happens, we have to figure out where it broke, what caused it, and how do we fix it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a character trait that you wish you could wave a magic wand and instill in everybody on your team?
Well, there's so many you could think about, but I always go back to trustworthiness. I have this personal belief that people are good. And the more we can gain and earn trust with one another, the better off we'll be. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, whether it's with your significant other, your children, your coworkers, your boss. If you trust one another, you will go faster in decision making. You will lean on each other more and ask for help. You'll be kinder when someone fails. If we can continue to grow trust with our customers through providing excellent performance for them, with our employees by listening, by supporting, it will accelerate things, and you put more positive change into the bank than taking change out, and everybody's better at the end of the day.
How do you're at the top of the organization, so how do you set that tone practically?
Listening to understand versus listening to respond. I mean, I think oftentimes human nature is someone's talking to you and you want to be able to provide your response or your opinion. But if you listen to what people are saying, you can understand their point of view better. And if you trust one another, you can have healthy disagreement. You can have, healthy pushback on one another. Being present. I'm based in Appleton. I don't spend every day in Appleton. In fact, the more time I spend in a facility at our customer service office with customers, the more I learn and the more people see that, hey, this guy's willing to unload a truck with me. This guy's willing to ask me my opinion on things. This person's wearing his steel-toed shoes and his vest. So, part of it goes back to, lead by example. And it's also leading by listening and leading by present. We've really done a nice job around recognition of people. If you don't thank people, you don't say, good job. You don't say, you don't buy pizza once in a while. Those things don't make or create trust, but they help show that there's a caring and a belief in the people that, I have the honor to lead. And I take that seriously.
You guys are pretty spread out geographically. It's a challenge we have as well. How do you push that philosophy to the edges so it's not just an idea and an ideal that you have there at the home office, but it actually is lived out throughout the organization?
So we really want and we really do, all of our executive team gets out to the field on a regular basis at different locations. Over the last 18 months, the executive team and the directors have really spent a lot of time working closer together on alignment, around creating clarity. We've all read this book called The Advantage by Lencioni.
Yeah.
And we're trying to use those tips in that book about creating a really healthy organizational culture and taking those learnings and really living those out and creating clarity for people. Because when there's confusion, it just is a time suck. And people, if I go to a facility and say we're going in direction A, and my vice president of operations goes to a building and says, hey, I'm pushing us in direction C, there's going to be really, really bad things that could occur from that.
Sure.
We're really trying to create the clarity, create a common message, a common communication. And I would tell you, we've gotten a whole lot better over the last 24 months.
So that was a conscious decision to make that shift.
And I think we all believed it, but we needed something to really be a baseline for how we were going to behave going forward.
You did a pretty good size acquisition in 23, I think. I remember you.
Actually, February 17th of this year was the 1-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
So we purchased a company called Shipping Tree. They were located in Southern California in Columbus, and they're a fully baked fulfillment direct-to-customer organization. And it's been, like I just said, a year. And I would tell you, it's been a really good year. There's been some, like anytime you do one of those things, we've stubbed our toe here and there. But I would tell you, we're better off with Shipping Tree than before. Good talent, good people, similar values, strong customer base, and they had some very good front-end technology that we're working to align the organization on, at least the fulfillment side of the organization, using that technology.
Recruiting top talent is tough. Onan Staffing focuses on people, offering exceptional benefits to attract and retain dedicated workers. Partner with us for flexible, data-driven solutions. Visit onanstaffing.com to learn more.
The cultural match piece is so important in an acquisition situation. I mean, if you care about your environment at all, it's got to be there, or it can go really bad. And it sounds like, I would imagine that hands-on, getting in there, being there physically, was a part of that playbook of helping to bring them into the family.
Oh yeah, and we've upgraded facilities. They moved into a brand new facility in Fontana, California recently. We expanded the Columbus facility, and we're working on that right now. So beyond that, we've also, we're trying and have tried to make them part of WSI. And, we try not to refer to them as the shipping tree team. They're our team, right? So it's we, not they. So it's us.
Is acquisition something that you guys, is that part of your strategy in the near term here?
Yeah, over the next 3 to 5 years, we know that if we want to hit our growth plans, both from a revenue and a margin standpoint, doing it organically becomes extremely, extremely difficult. So yes, I would envision future acquisitions. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to fit into our model. We don't want to go buy something that is something we don't do and trying something new. Now, if we did that, we might do it and have a standalone and not make it, part of where we are today. But we want to be smart about the acquisitions, and it's got to be a good deal financially as well. So, we have a team that works these and is always looking. There's always things that are opportunities that we're starting to do, research into and talking to people.
All right, let's take a little bit of a left turn and talk about you and your approach to managing yourself. So successful leaders typically have strong habits that they've developed. What are some of the habits, rituals that you've developed that help you show up the way you need to show up consistently?
Personally, I try and work out 5-6 times a week because it just helps me mentally. Obviously, I want to stay fit, and I got 2 grandchildren now, and I want to be running around with them in 15 or 20 years as well. But it clears my head. It's kind of a stress reliever, and it allows me to come back if I get out at lunch or get up first thing like I did this morning. It allows me to walk into work with kind of a fresh start.
Yeah. As
it comes to the work group, I'm a big believer in this whole straight talk. Nothing's worse than someone talking around things for a half hour because they're avoiding a difficult discussion, or those aren't easy. But providing healthy feedback for people, providing areas of where we can get better. If you do it professionally, you do it with kindness, people are going to accept it because you're not doing it to hurt anybody's feelings. You're hurting it for people to get better. And I am an open book. If people want to give me feedback or tell me I'm not doing something wrong, I'm not going to take offense to it. It may hurt a little bit, but I've had leaders on my team. I've had some directors call me and say, Paul, I think you screwed up, or why'd you do this? And that's the type of straight talk that we can really improve the organization versus going to someone in the hallway having a discussion and then coming to me sharing, hey, I heard someone said this, right? So I'm a real big believer in straight talk. I think as a leader, you got to be vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with me saying, I'm sorry. If I make a mistake, I'll say I screwed up and here's what I'm going to go do to fix it. I believe that makes you stronger. I believe that it allows others, that you set the example that if someone makes an error, which we all do, telling someone you made a mistake today is a lot better than hiding it for 3 weeks because it just gets worse.
That's a huge trust builder too. And you talked about that trust, that reciprocal trust environment. Where do you think people go wrong? Because, sometimes people use "I'm just telling the truth" as sort of an excuse to just be nasty, So what's your coaching to folks in terms of doing that the right way? Because I'm with you, but it can be it can cut both ways.
My coaching to someone around that is, if you want to get your message across and you want to have a relationship and you want to build trust, come across with a sense of kindness, caring. Understand that. Do you want to be talked to that way by someone? So, and I realize in a moment, someone can be stressed and they may say something they regret, or send that email right after you type it when you should put it away for 24 hours, reread it. I think sometimes it's just, hey, being self-aware of what you're saying and how the other person is going to receive it. Because you might be thinking you're not saying anything wrong, yet the receiver is taking this as, I may never want to work with this person again. So yeah, it's really important to understand how the message is being heard, not just how you're delivering it.
You've had a really great career. You've been at it for a while, like I have. If you could go back to yourself as a young professional, just getting going in your career, what advice would you give that young buck, knowing what you know today?
I've thought about this quite a bit. I don't know if my wife would find this to be interesting or true. I think it's patience. So when I left the Marine Corps and joined Schneider, my first 12, 13 years there, we moved 5 times. And these weren't like cross-town moves. This was Toronto, Canada to Portland, Oregon. My kids were young. Schneider was growing. It was exciting, and there were opportunities. And I was driven, and I probably got a promotion or a different role before I was ready for it. And maybe there was no one else to do it because we were growing so fast. But I think sometimes being in a role for 3 to 4 to 5 years is better than 2 to 2.5 years, because you really learn the business better. And when I was early on in my career, I didn't realize how long of work life I was going to have. I'm going to use a sports analogy. Monday after the Super Bowl, all the talking heads on sports radio were talking about, are the Eagles a dynasty? And one guy said, hey, can we let them get to their parade on Friday before we start talking about them being a dynasty?
No kidding.
Can they sit and enjoy it for a week before they go work out again for, to win the Super Bowl? And life is, we treat like, everything happened to happen today. And we also don't take time to really understand the wins in our work life. I mean, today at WSI, we can do things that we couldn't do 6 to 12 months ago. And, we're thinking about our 3-year plan and how are we going to finish our fiscal year strong? And what do we got to do to win these 2 customers that we're going through an RFP with, which we have to do. But I think also taking a step back, taking a breath and saying, we should be really proud of what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
We don't always do that. Maybe as a society, but at least in the workplace.
Oh, no, I think that's common with achievers, certainly, because you're always looking for the next mountain. And at some point, you got to celebrate. I mean, at least, crank up the radio and yell on the drive home or something. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade too. And I think that impatience around getting to the next job, it's very typical though for a young professional. I think that's great advice. I think that's great. Well, let's land it there. But before you go, so you guys are growing. You're a dynamic company. You're expanding your customer base and I'm sure doing some hiring. So how can folks find out more about WSI, connect with you, connect with the opportunities that you have across the nation?
So you can go to our website, wsinc.com. I'm on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to reach out through LinkedIn.
Good. Well, we'll put that up. We'll put up your career page as well. And Great. It's been great talking with you. Sounds like you have a great business and you guys have good things ahead. So congratulations on all that. And next time I'm up at my hometown, maybe we can get dinner.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity here. And as people here say, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. All right. Until next time, keep it real.
Thank you for listening. This podcast is powered by Onin, the staffing partner delivering real results for manufacturing, logistics, and food processing companies nationwide. To learn more, visit www.oningroup.com. Until next time, keep it real.